Facebook automatically chooses the beginning bit, and at the beginning and the screenshot is always me going like that, and I hate it, and it'll probably use that now. Anyway, guys, we are live. We have 53 seconds to go through the T's and C's. For those of you that are re-watching this later on, you can skip the first minute because it's just me introducing everything and letting people have a chance to get in. We're already seeing the numbers go up. My watch has gone off to say we're live, so we're all good. Today, we've got a northern soul about us because...
Very northern today, very northern.
We've
the
got
most northern one you'll do.
100%, I do not disagree with that. We are live in Barrowford, which is a beautiful place near my neck of the woods. We've got Rachael Shaw. We're going to talk about salons and business, and I've got some exciting news actually, but I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to do that on the next screen. But it is about Hair Socials Pro. You might have seen it, you might have heard of it. Coming out at the end of this month. We've also got the hot team. There's so much to talk about in today's episode. But first of all, let's go to the main screen for everybody watching. So welcome everybody. We are on live 96. I put 95 and I've realised it's 96. We've got Rachael Shaw here, and what we're talking about today, we're talking about salon ownership, we're talking about business, and we're talking about people that may want to go into owning a salon. And your experiences, is that right?
Yeah, just like what to expect, what you get left with. That sounds quite negative, but like what you've got to cope with, because it is quite a lonely place. And I think that, like we spoke about before in the past, when you have someone that's in that situation to chat to about where you are and the struggles that you've got, it helps you so much. And I think it's nice to have a little community going of where people that are in that situation can also jump in and feel like they're not on their own.
It absolutely does. I'm just sharing this to the groups and the community so they can all join in with us, including our friends How to Cut It and Matrix. In fact, some good news. You've now joined the Matrix team as well, I believe.
Yes, very excited.
It's exciting. What are you doing for us?
So I'm going to be education, so an educator. That's just been very, very recent. So I'm just starting my journey with that. Obviously, we came to Matrix Evolve and saw you up on the stage doing your thing and got to meet and greet more people. So that was really exciting. But yeah, just going to be going out and doing the education thing. So I'm excited for that. Really excited.
That is awesome.
One of the educators that's jumping in.
Joanna, yes, we all know Joanna. Thank you for joining. Let us know where you're watching from. I have a question for everybody who's watching now. While you're on, what sounds better? Excuse me. Hair Socials Pro or Hair Socials VIP? I want answers in the chat and let us know, because that will be the name going forward for the next one.
I'm voting Pro.
Pro? I think Pro. I went Pro.
I think Pro.
That's awesome. So yes, guys, let us know where you're watching from. Are you a salon owner? Do you have aspirations of running a salon? Because we are trying to create a community now within Hair Socials Pro going forward, where salon owners can get together, have a chat. Because I'm part of a chat, and I don't know if I should say that. I won't say who it is, but a brand that I know, if you spend over X amount of money, you get put into this salon owners thing, and you get special things. And I think we should have that for independent salons. So I'm going to create that.
For everyone. It should be inclusive of everyone, because it doesn't matter how much money you spend or anything. If you're a salon or a business owner, you're a salon and a business owner. So you're all in the same position.
Exactly. So I'm going to create a group going forward, a group chat within Hair Socials where we can all get together and have like a monthly ramble about what we're doing. So I wanted to talk to you about you and what your experiences are, so people can get to know you, because obviously I know who you are, but people won't do it. Are you still a salon owner as we speak?
I am a salon owner. So the salon I'm in now is my second salon after I've closed the first, which obviously we'll talk about a little bit later on. But just because of rise of cost, and I think like I said, we've chatted before where we've said like it's survival mode kicks in, and then you're like, what do I do? And obviously life after COVID, everything is completely different now. I know that restrictions have been eased and we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel, but I think the pandemic still is on for business owners. 100%. And I think that's why it's important to do things like this, because you can't just be left thinking, why am I struggling? Everything seems to be passing now. But yeah, I'm very much settling into the new salon and just getting back on my feet after the last 2 years that we've had.
So just going into another bit of about you, where did you start your hairdressing journey and how long have you had your salon?
So my hairdressing journey started when I was like 17, 18 with Tony and Guy. I was with them for a long time, went everywhere with them. And then I went on my own and was mobile for quite a while. But then it was just the traveling and getting stuck in traffic. I never enjoyed that, and getting home late. So then I just thought, yeah, I want a salon near home where I live. And that's when I got the first one. And I had that for 2 years, but I got the keys for that in March 2020, 10 days before we went into lockdown.
I remember. So, yeah, I forgot about that. You did.
I did, yeah. So that weren't a fun time, but we're here now. We're still standing.
We are still standing, and you're going to tell us more about that as we go forward. Just a reminder for everybody who is watching, if you're watching this on your phone, obviously you can interact with us and chat with us, but if you'd rather watch it on your TV, we are on YouTube Live, so head over to there, subscribe, and put it on your telly. So that's a good thing. Right, now going forward, I wanted to talk to you about, I want it to be representative, right, because I've got some stats to read out for everybody about the business, the industry, and things like that. So I want to know what the average bill is in your area. I know it's my area as well, but I'm talking to you as your experience, because obviously if we get someone else further down the line and they're saying, oh, we're taking over X amount of thousands, but they're charging £100 a haircut, then I want it to be representative of the area. So what's the average bill for, say, cut and blow dry in your area?
So I feel like the average bill is about £25.
Yeah.
In the area. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, I don't really do much digging into the other salons' price list, because I am a firm believer in charging what you feel like you're worth. Yeah. But I think on average, yeah, you're looking at around £25, which I think is more or less what you get around where we are.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So yeah, so everyone watching now, you kind of get the gist then of what the average bill is when we talk about figures later going forward. Talking of charging your worth, mate, right, this is a serious question. I can hold my hand up, and we'll go into that in a minute.
We're both going to be guilty of this.
Do you charge your worth, first of all, before we even go into any of our business problems? Do you charge your worth?
I'm going to say no, and I think if anybody says they do, 100% are lying a little bit. I do feel like no matter how confident you are and how much you know your work is worth, you do discount yourself a little bit. I think it's that because of where we are after COVID and people are making cutbacks, and you think, ooh, can I charge them that? Shall I just knock a little bit more off when you're taking the bill? So yeah, I think everybody's a bit guilty of it. I am.
100%.
Yeah. Friends and family, I definitely am.
I don't know where everyone else is watching from and what size of place they come from, but I want them to be honest with me. And I think it's worse if you are from a village or a small town to be charging your worth, because you seem to know everybody. So everyone that you do, everybody becomes friends with their clients. That's a fact, whether it's in a city or but if you see them on a daily, weekly basis and you're bumping into each other in Tesco's, it's almost like you feel like you owe them something, and I don't understand why. But is that just me, or is that you as well?
No, I feel like that's right, yeah, because obviously when you have your clientele and you have a loyal clientele and they're with you for some time, you do, like you say, get friends with them, and you do bump into them, or they get to a point where they say, it's my engagement party, come, or I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You can do my hair for the wedding, but stay for the night as well. And you do, it kind of puts you in a little bit of a position where you do. It's silly, really. And this is where we go wrong. You feel guilty for charging for your job, where they won't feel guilty getting their wage slip from their boss at work. So we shouldn't do that either.
So Jessica Jones, totally agree. I've got a question to make everybody cringe. On average, let's say the normal salon, just throwing a number out there. Shall we say 40 clients, right, in a week? And that's you might not do that. I don't do that anymore. So let's say 40 clients, and that's because I've reduced my hours. So if you did 40 clients, right, and you're charging an average of £25, and often we round it down. We don't say like, oh, just call it 23. You go straight down to a 20 quid, which is an absolute joke, isn't it? So 40 times 5.
It's a jump.
That is an absolute travesty. So you're roughly discounting £200 a week.
Mm.
And I do
It's
it.
ridiculous, isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
embarrassing, isn't it?
it is wrong. Yeah, and I think this is where like we've had to get more open with clients and be more transparent with them. And I think since COVID, that's been a good excuse to do that, because once upon a time, I know from people that I've worked with before and salons and just being in the industry, for someone to say, we can't afford to charge you that, they would have rather died than tell a client, I can't afford to just charge this much. But I think now we have to be transparent and say, look, if you want all these nice things and a nice salon and the coffees and the best products and somebody doing your hair that's got all the education coming out of their ears, you need to be cutting these costs, because otherwise we're not going to be making any money.
No. And that £200, right? So that's, we're nearly there at the minimum wage for a full-time week. So we're at £200 there that we've lost. So if we want a discount, I suppose my tip would be put your charge prices up to 30 quid and discount them to 25 quid if it makes your conscience feel better. At least you're charging your worth then, even if you want to do it in a devious way, let's say. So have you changed anything? Because obviously your costs are 20. Have they always been that? When was the last time you had a price increase in your salon?
Well, I had a slight price increase when we came back after the second lockdown, but that was literally by 5%, which is nothing. We're putting the feelers out to put it up more, and it was quite shocking at what feedback I was getting. You get a lot of people that obviously say that's fine, you understand, but then you do get some that are like, I don't want to pay anymore, I've got cutbacks I need to do myself, which we get, don't we? We're having to do it. But yeah, I do think that it's still not enough, because the cost of everything now is just skyrocketed. And when you think that once upon a time, when probably we started hairdressing, you could go and get a box of gloves for $2.99, and now they can be up to $18.99 just for a pair of gloves. It's not enough. You do need to be covering them costs.
Shout out to Alan Howard, charging nearly 20 quid. I shouldn't say that. I do a lot with Alan. I love Alan Howard, but yeah, that 20 quid for gloves was an absolute joke. I think Jonathan and Paul watch this as well. So yeah, definitely a joke, mate. Put your prices down for gloves. What else have I going into there? So I've got some questions here. I've got some stats actually talking of the rising costs. One stat was the cost of living to rise by 10% before the end of the year. A further 10%, right? So if you put your prices up 5%, obviously, can we get away with putting our prices up a further 10-15% on what they are already?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we can, because everybody wants more now. We're not just having hairdressing and clients now. It isn't just a case of a client coming in and saying, "Oh, can I have this? Can I have that?" They're watching techniques and they're reading online, and they can get everything in the palm of their hand, and they want all this stuff that we could give them. And I think that, yeah, we can, if they want what they come in and ask for, I do think that we need to be charging that. So I think we can, but I do think there'd be a bit of friction along the way.
Well, I did a bit of research here. I keep looking down at my notes. So I read an article, February 22. So it's as close to the date as I could get on the subject that we're talking about. And it was 84% of the hair, beauty and barbering sector have experienced a reduce in business, according to their poll. That was a Hair Journal poll. Now, I know that's not actual. I don't think it's concrete that it would be 84% because it was based over a 24-hour Instagram poll. But I think that, let's say, even if it was 50%, which is way off 84, that's a lot, isn't it? That's a ridiculous amount. Apparently, we've lost 15% of the sector, hair, beauty and barbering, since lockdown. Yeah,
I totally get that. Like, I've just been fortunate enough that this unit was here for me to take, because if I wanted to stay in my area when I had to remove myself from the one I was in for 2 years, and this wasn't available, I would have been completely stuck.
Yeah, I agree with
that.
So
I can totally get that, because obviously big decisions have been being made. Like, I was reading, I think it might have even been Hair Journal where I read it, but somewhere like people like Nicky Clark, who've obviously been around since the beginning of time, he's had to shut salons. There's people that are close to me that I've had to know that have had to shut salons all over in different areas, and it's sad. So I can totally get that.
Got a good comment coming in. I'm going to read it out later, but yeah, let us know, guys, what you've done to change since lockdown. What have you changed of your services, prices, etc. I'll read that out in a second. There has been a rise, right? So this is a positive note, because I don't want it to all be negative. I want people to come here and support each other and be business owners together. We'll do one of these once a month if people like it going forward. There was a rise of 54% of hairdressing, beauty and barbering between 2015 and 2020. I think it worked out, I can't remember, I didn't write it down unfortunately, but it was about 45,000 salons in the country, in the UK. Now, what did I mention earlier? Was it that we've lost 15%? So my question to you is, as a business owner, as a salon owner, is it actually a recession in businesses, or is this just a levelling out of where we should have probably been anyway in our industry?
I don't think it's a recession, because as you're still getting people through the door, people still want their hair doing, they still want like a bit of pampering. So I don't feel like that's going to slow down and stop to a point of where it's going to put us at risk, if you will. But I do think, like you said, there's a leveling out. I do feel like with peaks, then it drops again. Like in our industry, I don't feel like anybody realises, unless they're in it themselves, how you do roller coaster all the way through the year. And I think then after COVID and everything that's happened, I do feel like we are just starting to maybe catch ourselves back up.
100%. I mean, how many on your street alone? How many hair and beauty salons are there? Because I'm on a tiny block with I think there's about 12 businesses on my block, and 2 of us are hairdressers, so that's 1 in 6.
Yeah, I mean, from the bottom of the village to the top, which is not very long, you can literally drive up it in 2 minutes. There's a lot of salons, and we're talking, I don't know, I haven't counted them, but there's about, including barbers, there's about 7, 8, maybe more.
I've miscounted. I'm working out. There's about 12 buildings, but some of them are double units, and there is 1, 2, 3, which me, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm saying 7 businesses, and 2 of them are hairdressers.
Yeah,
so that's quite a thing. So obviously, if you are in a business now and you're watching this or you're listening to this later on, and you are surviving and you are still going, hats off to you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a round of applause, because you're one of the remainders. So it means you must be doing something right. So yeah, well done. Thank you. Well done, Rachel, for still going. So how much money did you save? Because I'm not going to ask you what your rent is, but how much money did you save by moving premises?
Well, I don't feel like I've saved anything yet, because I've had to do 2 shop fits in 2.5 years. So I'm not saving anything yet. It is literally just keeping going. But in the long run, I think once I've recovered from doing this move, because it was totally unexpected, the only reason that I did it is because the landlords that I had in the previous premises just came in one day and were like, right, time to renew your contract. Here we go. We want 25.5 grand for the rent. And then the letter from the council dropped in, and we're like, right, we've renewed business rates. We now want 7 grand for the rates. And I was just like, no. So in the grand scheme of things, I think what I've saved is not being ridiculous and causing myself bankruptcy, which would have happened if I were in there. No salon, unless like you're on a different scale, in a little village, like you say, in a town, can bring in 30 odd grand before they've even bought a tube of colour, paid any staff, paid a bill. That's just on rent and rates. So I think what I've saved is not being bankrupt.
Yeah.
But over the months, once I've recovered, it'll be like, I'll be saving thousands, because it's expensive.
Hey, anyone who's watching this, sometimes you forget that there are other buildings, and you're probably too concerned about what other people's opinions are. Now, I am in my 3rd salon, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3rd salon. One was with a business partner. Second one was with a business partner. This one is on my own. Now we moved to save. So it's fourth salon. So we moved to save rent on the first instance. The second instance was I was on my own and it was upstairs and I wanted a cheap shop and then I had my accident, so I moved again because I wanted to be downstairs. Now, I am paying less rent now than I started for 10 years ago, a rough guess on top of my head. Might be 12 years. 12 years ago when I started, when there was a recession, the first one, 2009, I think, 2008. That's when I opened my first shop. Yeah, so that's when I opened my first shop. So it's like 14 years nearly. And I'm paying less rent now by half as what I was then.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
So if you guys have a shop, just have a quick look at what other prices are doing, because it might have driven prices of rent down in your area in the last 5 years. And you might get a lot more for your buck. Now I'm going to take me out of the picture here because I want to show you how beautiful Rachel's salon is. There you go. You can see it more there in the background. How stunning is that salon? So how many chairs have you got?
I have 4. I'm going to be moving one upstairs as well, because we have an upstairs. So we have people doing nails, we've got eyelashes and the staff room and the bathroom and everything up there, and also another basin because the colour room's in with the staff room, so we have a basin upstairs. So, you know, for your toning and for big jobs that you have to do at the backwash, and we can just put them upstairs, so then it's a little bit more comfortable and they're not sat in the middle of the salon. So yeah, I'm putting a chair up there as well, just so then if they are having to sit there and wait, they're not going to have to keep going up and downstairs. So it's just but that's what it's been, because I've only been here 4 weeks. I had to do a lot of work on the build, and now it's just a case of getting into it, finding the floor, and then seeing what works for the salon.
100%. Hello to Matthew who's joining in. He's a salon owner in oh my god, I always get it wrong. Scotland. I'll just go with Scotland. It's a safe bet. I know it's in Scotland. So he's up there, and you let us know, mate. How are you finding it? This is a little thing. You can rewatch it later where we talked about the hair and beauty industry as a whole and financials. A lot of comments coming in. It's beautiful, gorgeous salon. We're trying to update ours at the minute gradually. So I'll just read out a couple of the comments that came in earlier that I said I'd come back to. So I altered my service menu and broke it down hourly so clients could see more detail how and why the costs have changed. This has really helped me up my prices. 100%.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple of times.
We try and work everything off. Sorry, you can't see me. That's why you're not. Hang on a minute. Let me put me back up. There we go. I'm back. I wonder why we're like. I was pausing waiting for you, and then I realised you couldn't see me. Sorry. Yeah, so we do that. We work on an hourly basis, and then what we try and do then is we're trying to put tiers in with stylists, so more experienced and more expensive. So that rather than discounting to try and drive traffic in, or if people decide they can't afford to pay loaners price, say is roughly £30 for a cut, well, actually, Maisie could do it for 20 quid. So if you don't want to pay it, we have another option. So that's another way of looking at it as well. Maybe putting your staff in tier systems for those that don't do it. These are things that are obvious to me and you. But
sorry, go on.
I was going to say these are things that are obvious to me and you, but obviously some people may not have worked in salons like that.
I mean, I was talking to somebody the other week, and they were saying how they found it odd because obviously salons, they all do the pricing differently. My prices, I just roll everything in. So where you get some salons that'll say like you've got your full head of baby lights, but then it's an extra £10 to £15 for your toners. It's an extra £10 to £15 if you want to add all the flex. Because this is why as well I love like not to be where obviously we're going to say how amazing it is, but this is why I love Matrix so much, because everything with your bonders are in with the colour, so you don't have to offer that. Like it's going back to not having to offer the client to pay more money to compromise the condition of the hair. Everybody now wants to walk out with healthy hair, amazing colour, toned to perfection, conditioned, and you shouldn't. I don't feel like you should have to whack more money on.
No, I agree. I was going to say they want all that and then pay £20. So this is going to take up the whole screen, but I'll put it there. I redid my service list too to its biggest increase I have ever made. We only had a few clients say anything about it. I do think they understand the situation now, and now is the time to do the price increase. Also, from speaking to many clients after the last 2 years, regardless of the cost of living rising, they don't want us to they don't want to charge. I think it's meant to say change their lifestyles. They want luxuries. Yeah, so I agree with that. My missus has just been selfridges, so she don't give a shit.
She wasn't, because she was present.
Do you want? Oh, hang on, I've got to put the chat back down there. So yeah, a lot of compliments from that, but that's awesome. So I'll go back to the list of questions that I've written. Do you feel there is enough support for the smaller business, especially the smaller salons out there from the industry?
No, and I think this is why it's a good idea, like you say, to do the hair socials where it's a community where people that are either freelance business owners or anybody that is like standing on their own to jump in and get that support. I think obviously like education and everything like that, you can get that at your fingertips. You can do that online. You can do like obviously as we know, you can get booked to go and do a course or get people to come to you, you go to them. But I feel like support within business, even just having a chat with someone saying, look, I found this really stressful this week, and somebody giving their input, taking a leaf out of everybody's book sometimes can really, really help you and make you realise that you're not on your own. So I feel like there isn't enough support for small businesses unless you pay whacking prices by these big names that are online. And they say, come on my course, but it's £500. Well, I know for a fact, if I wanted any help this week, I couldn't afford this week to go and pay £500 for some business tips. Where somebody just having a chat like me and you are, or people popping in the comments and saying, I found this, you could think, well, yeah, that'd help me loads. And it's free.
That's awesome. Well, for those that are watching now, just keep your attention for later on. I am going to announce a list of things that Hair Socials is doing, probably before January. So, but if not, 100% of it that I'm mentioning later on will be available in 2023, and it'll be available for pretty much everyone from the ground up to all the way to salon owners. What else have I got to say? We have another one here. We have. Options for hair. My salon is in Morton in the Wirral. In a small town, we have 21 salons. Nightmare. I have been here for 20 years and still going. Every day it brings a new challenge. Love my job, so onwards and upwards. Thank you.
A Wirral OG.
Yeah, the OG or the original. Matthew says, we are good, mate, just now. Just got to keep pushing out the work out there. P.S. It's in Edinburgh. I always say Glasgow, even though I know it's in Edinburgh. That's where I get it wrong. And then I've heard that, when I click on it, that customers want more premium service for their money now. So it becomes a real treat when they do come in. I have found that because I found that they're dragging their appointments out further now.
Yeah.
A balayage was once every 3 months, some of them, and that was a pain in the ass because it used to be 6 weeks to 3 months, and now we're looking at nearly 6 months for some of these clients. If we're honest with each other.
So it's that, isn't it? It's that regular work and that regular income, and then when that drags itself out, then you've got to bridge that gap by trying to find more people to come in.
It's mad though, isn't it? Because I said to you that my rent is cheaper now than it was 14 years ago because of moving, and don't be ashamed to move if it saves you money. But my bills are probably working out not much dissimilar from when I started as an apprentice at the salon in Burnley. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name, because I don't get on with him, and I constantly tell stories about how I didn't like my previous employer. So if I say that,
don't say it.
Yeah, I won't say it. RB. Anyway, he were a nightmare, right? So I used to charge as a junior, just qualified, barely, 90 quid for full head of foils and a cut. And it's probably not too dissimilar now. I don't think they're that dissimilar now. And then people whinge that a balayage is now starting to look at £150, whereas it was £80 when it started. But then they've got to realise they're not coming in every 6 weeks, they're coming in once every 6 months now.
Yeah, so it's not just a maintenance job anymore, it's a complete brand new service. Yeah, fair enough, there's colour there that you're going to be able to top up, but like I say, it's not a maintenance job where they're just going to pop in and be able to just think, right, we'll quickly do this. It's a full service. And then again, like we said, it's with the products, and then they want the coffees and the whole surroundings, and yeah, they do want a pamper, and the services are dragged down. So I
100%.
agree with that. Which Sharon was she called?
Sandra. It was my mum.
Sandra. Sorry, Sandra.
It's
But yeah, I believe that. I do feel like people really want a top-notch service now. And why wouldn't they? They're handing the money over, so that's fair enough. But
100%.
yeah, I think that's where we need to be really cost effective, that we're going to give them that, but covering the cost of what we have to get in to give them that as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story, right? I've got an idea of my business model that's going to slightly. I've never done it before, so I'm going to share that idea with you guys in a second and see if it works. I'll come back to it next month.
The pitch.
Yeah, I'm going to pitch it. But no-shows, right? No-shows are the bane of my life. Since lockdown, I don't know. Put it in the chat. If you've had no-shows, on average, how many a week are you getting? I will tell you now, I'm getting at least one a day.
Yeah. I feel like I'm getting like 1 to 2 a week. I'm quite lucky in the sense of, with me being full, it's regulars, but then like we spoke about before, I have had regulars do it as well. Sometimes it's a genuine mistake, but then you do get the ones that are just like, oh, I forgot, just pop me in next week, or I can come tomorrow at 2, and you think, no, but then they don't realise that you've then lost money that day. You don't get paid while you're not working.
Yeah. This is the problem. So I worked it out roughly that we're getting one a day, and we're a small business. We're a small salon. There's only 3 staff in there, and then I'm in and out, so I don't really count. But we can sometimes have about £400 of no-shows in a week. Now
It's ridiculous.
That's profit.
It's so
Sometimes turnover gone completely. Absolute nightmare for us. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Joanna's showing off. She doesn't get them.
Oh, okay then. Look at you.
I don't understand if she's saying I don't get them, as if she doesn't understand the no-shows, or I do not get no-shows.
No, I think she's saying she don't get no shows.
I was trying to give a benefit of a doubt there. Anyway, I've come up with an idea, because what I've found is that the hardest thing for us is the regular income. Now, if you knew that you were going to bring in, just round numbers, right, £1,000 a month, and you knew that £1,000 a month was coming in every single month, that'd be all right. But some months it's 800, some months it's 1,200,
Yeah.
some months it's 600, some months it's 2,000. Again, just throwing random numbers out. But it's trying to get that regular income. So I was thinking, and I've started like a little thing in the salon, so people can write their interest if they're interested. And it's like a VIP club for the salon. So, for example, your main clients that come in every sort of 6 weeks, they spend this amount of money in your salon. If they spend, and it's almost like a direct debit or a subscription service, where they pay £15 for a silver, £30 for a gold. Again, just making numbers up. I haven't gone into the T's and C's yet. They get one product a month with that 15 quid. So they're getting the thing, right? Or 2 products a month, whatever. If you're charging 30 quid, then you probably
like
get
a
2.
subscription.
Yeah, so they'll get 2 products a month, but they'll get the money back on that as a 10% or 5% off spend in the salon as well. Now, it's not because I want to profitize the clients that we have got and sort of take the advantage of him. It's more a case of, we know then exactly that there's 30 people paid for that, so that's that money there. And then you can start looking at your rent, because like you said, sometimes you get these unexpected bills, and then it's always on the weeks where you've had them lower weeks.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
It's like somebody knows.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And then like your TV music license, that's a nightmare.
I know.
What? How much is that now?
A lot.
I don't know how much it is actually.
TV license, that's 140 something, isn't it? If you have a screen on. But then your live streaming. It's all these little bits of things that nobody realises are added on. You know, the cost of, like, you wouldn't ever think, oh, they've got to pay to play music. You wouldn't ever, and then obviously you've got your apps that you're streaming your music on.
Yeah, 15
you've got
quid
to
a
pay
month.
for them. Yeah. So I have 2 on the go, because sometimes one, I get bored of one and I want to go on the other. So that's £20 a month alone, just the 2 music apps.
Yeah.
So it's got to be included in the cost.
You never do this, and you know when you have them like the bank wants you to put a business plan together these days before they'll let you open certain things. And I've never ever seen TV license, music license, bins all that lot ever on anyone's
Um,
business plan. It's always rent, gas, water, electric. But
yeah.
bins, paying for your license for your bins, that's a joke and all. Honestly, the money
Yeah,
they charge.
I've just had to like sort that out here. So one of the reasons as well that I left the previous place that I was at is I had to pay because it was a unit within a block. They did a service charge, so it was like nearly £200 a month just for a service charge for a caretaker, which literally just cut the grass outside, pick the litter up a couple of times a week, and then the bins. They said for security lighting, but it never worked. But so it's just all this, but then at the same time, because of the size of the unit, because it was too big, it was huge. But the size of the unit, you had to pay your business rates, which is then your bins and
Yeah.
everything else. So it was just like paying double. But it is ridiculous. Like something as simple as taking the bins away.
I know, yeah. And then they're charging a premium for it because it's not cheap.
No.
These companies that are doing it, I can't even remember. I'm quite terrible. I'm going to set everybody a challenge. Everyone is watching, rewatching, listening. We'll revisit this in 4 weeks, right? And I want everyone to have saved £100 a month on something, right?
Yeah.
That's the chat. That's your homework, guys. You lot watching, me included, you included.
Yeah.
We're going to try and find a way to save because you've got 2 music subscriptions, so there's a tenner save there if you get rid of one.
Yeah.
We're paying a ridiculous amount of money.
90 to go.
Oh, we got Sam Kurzweil joining in on
Hey.
YouTube. Thank you for joining, my friend. But yeah, if that's a challenge. Everybody watching who's a salon owner, I want you to save £100 between this live and the next one about this. And that'll bring me on nice actually, because I was going to ask you the last question that I wrote down is: do you think hair socials are starting to own as a community?
100%.
So this is what we're thinking.
100%.
So we're going to do the Hair Socials Pro, which is to support the page, because I do this voluntarily. I've done it for 2 years now. So I don't get paid for doing this. You don't get paid for coming on. It's awesome. You know, we're doing it for the love of it. But I do think that if you want to help support the page, that would be awesome. No, we haven't started it yet, but there is now the option to be a subscription service, and it's like £3 a month. It's not even a lot of money. But what we're going to do is we're going to start throwing in extra things that is going to take time. It is going to take resources and extras and professionals coming in to help us out. But yeah, we are going to start 2 things, and one of them is a social media hub to help people with social media, because I quite like doing it, so it won't really be a hardship for me. And number 2 is a small business and a community for people to share lives like this and do exclusive lives just for people that will be sort of beneficial to it, who could join in, like a round table sort of thing. What do you think?
I think so, yeah. Like I said before, going back to what we're on about with the fact that even like you said, with somebody could be thinking of opening a salon or starting out freelance and just might want a couple of questions that they don't know who to turn to. Because it is a lonely place when you own a business. It isn't a lonely place at times because everything is on your head. So I think that having somewhere to turn to where everybody's like in a chat, or like you said, something like this where people can pop into the comments and just get a little bit of support or a little bit of help, or just offload. Sometimes people, I know that I do, I'm very good at offloading. So sometimes just offloading and thinking, right, I've got that out now.
I forgot, you was in my first ever. I get these ideas, that Rachel knows me now. I get these ideas and I just throw it out there, and then it grows, and then I don't know what to do with it. So I started a WhatsApp. Do you remember? We started. Rachel was one of the like, founding people in it, where we just helped each other with social media and started. We got like, thousands of followers out of that, hundreds at least.
It was just something. It was like hectic every day, and that we're in a lockdown.
Yeah, and that's it. So I was thinking of creating a sort of a different type of hub, but with that sort of in mind of how can we get a community to like and comment and grow each other's pages, and that's definitely one of them. Matt Steptoe said, that's my thought at the moment. I currently work from home and I want to open a salon, but so many questions. Well, mate, give Rachel a follow. What's your Instagram?
So it's Rachael Shaw Hairdressing, but it's Rachael. A lot of people like to do the EL, and I'm bougie and I'm no, have you? No, Have you?
I can't spell, mate. I'm well bad. Let me have a look.
No,
Uh,
on something that I've had from you before, it was AEL, you were good.
how was that? All right, I've done it right then. Ask Matthew, mate. Matthew, I've done 2 lives with Matthew. I still put what? Look, he's got 1 T. I kept put 2 in it every time.
Yeah.
Who else is that? Michael, not Michael Conway, John Anthony. I spelled his name
Oh,
wrong. Yeah. So I'm a nightmare for that. But I tell you what, I want to say, number one, thank you so much for giving your time on a Monday. I know you've got family over, so I appreciate that.
that's fine.
Number 2, we've kept a very engaged audience. Usually numbers go very up or very down, and they've stayed at the same all the way through. So I really appreciate that. So we've obviously kept the audience interacted and entertained. But yeah, have you got anything you want to bring into it before we wrap it up?
No, I just think that the little community hub, like you were saying, I think that'll be a really good outlet for people to come and jump on board with that, and then we can all share his ideas when we're like doing really well, or if we need to, like I said, offload and scream and cry on each other. Just have that support, because we can't do it to us staff. We need to be the ones that pick them up when they're feeling low. So yeah, I think it'll be really really good. That would be a
That's awesome.
good shout.
Thank you very much for that. Carmen's put great chat. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Next week we are back with a live. So if you haven't realised by now, guys, everybody watching, I'm doing a month on, month off because again I don't get paid for this. So it's actually quite a lot of graft trying to get people to come on. So we are doing a month on for the whole of July. We're on every Monday, and then a month off in August while I try and get new people for the next month. So if you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe to YouTube and watch us again next week. And if you didn't enjoy it, thanks for watching anyway. But yeah, I got a view. Thanks, guys. If you could all press share for me, that would be incredible. Right, Rachel, thank you very much. I'm going to wrap it up, but wait right there because I'll say bye to you when we go off the live.
Thank you.
When I realise, where the hell do I press the button now? I can't find it. Oh, there it is.